If you are reading this, it is not by accident. There is a quiet summons moving through your life right now, a gentle but persistent knocking at the door of your awareness. You may call it curiosity, restlessness, exhaustion, or hope. I call it remembrance. For long before you learned to fear money, long before you learned to measure your worth by lack or delay, you were endowed with a power so ordinary that you overlooked it. That power is your word. There was a time in my own life when poverty felt like a fixed season, a hard law written into the walls of my days. I woke each morning with a silent calculation already running in my mind. What could not be afforded, what must be postponed, what dream must once again be folded away like a letter never sent. I did not speak these thoughts aloud at first. I did not need to. They spoke themselves through my breath, my posture, my expectations. I believed I was being practical. I did not realize I was being prophetic. For words are not sounds alone. They are seeds. And I had been sowing the same ones faithfully for years. I spoke of struggle as though it were noble. I spoke of scarcity as though it were responsible. I spoke of fear as though it were wisdom. And life, obedient and exact, returned to me precisely what I named. Poverty was not punishing me, it was agreeing with me. One evening, weary beyond tears, I stumbled upon a single line that struck me with the force of revelation. Man's word is his wand. I did not yet understand it, but something ancient within me recognized its truth. If my word was a wand, then I had been waving it carelessly, even cruelly, casting spells I never intended to live under. That night marked the beginning of a quiet revolution. Not dramatic, not instant, but irrevocable. I began to listen to myself. I began to notice the casual declarations I made about my life, and slowly, with reverence and trembling, I began to choose again. 3 words rose again and again, as if they had been waiting patiently for me to remember them. They were simple, almost childlike, yet they carried the weight of worlds. Faith, supply, prosperity. I did not select them with strategy. They selected me with authority. Each one felt like a key turning in a long, locked door. Faith was the first to speak, not faith as strain or effort, but faith as calm expectancy, as the deep knowing that life is not hostile, but responsive. Supply followed, dissolving the lie that resources are scarce or withheld, whispering instead that the universe is an ever-flowing storehouse, answering consciousness. And then prosperity arrived, not merely as money, but as harmony, dignity, expansion, and peace made visible. At first, speaking these words felt unnatural, even dishonest. My circumstances had not yet changed, and my senses protested. But I learned a sacred law. You do not speak words to describe life. You speak words to direct it. Truth is not always what you see. It is what you invoke. So I began gently. In the morning, before the world could tell me who I was, I told myself. I whispered, I am faith. I am supply. I am prosperity. At night, when fear tried to rehearse old stories, I answered with the same decree. I did not argue with doubt. I replaced it. I did not fight lack. I starved it of language. And something remarkable happened. Not all at once, but unmistakably, life began to rearrange itself. Opportunities appeared where walls had been. Help arrived without begging. Ideas came bearing their own provision. Most importantly, I changed. My voice softened, my walk steadied, my expectations lifted. I was no longer speaking from poverty, but out of it. Let me speak this plainly to you now. Your life is listening. Every idle word, every habitual phrase, every inner sentence whispered in secret is shaping tomorrow. You are not punished for negative words. You are fulfilled by them. And you are equally fulfilled by words of truth, spoken with persistence and devotion. This is not a story about pretending. It is a story about alignment. When your words agree with divine order, reality must follow. Faith opens the channel. Supply fills it. Prosperity manifests it. If you feel tired of surviving, if you are ready to stop negotiating with limitation, if something within you longs for ease without guilt, then this path is for you. Not because you are special, but because the law is impartial. It works for all who work with it. As you move through these pages, do not rush. Let the words wash you. Let them replace old agreements. Let them become your inner atmosphere. You are not learning something new. You are remembering something eternal. And we begin now together with a simple but sovereign declaration, spoken not in desperation, but in authority. I am faith, and I trust the unseen hand guiding my way. I am supply, and I live in a universe that cannot run out. I am prosperity, and good flows to me freely, fully, and now. The invisible order that never fails. There is an unseen order moving beneath all visible things, a divine mathematics so exact that nothing escapes it. Life is not random, though it may appear so to the hurried mind. It is responsive. It answers consciousness with unwavering fidelity. This is why the law works, not because it is kind, not because it is cruel, but because it is precise. Long before you spoke your first word, the universe was already listening. Every thought tends toward expression. Every belief seeks form, and words are the bridge between the invisible and the visible. They are the chosen instruments through which the unseen takes shape. When Florence Scovel Shinn spoke of words as wands, she was not using poetry alone. She was stating a metaphysical fact. A wand does not create power, it directs it. And your word directs the power that already flows endlessly through life. Most people believe their circumstances come first and their words second. They wait for evidence before they dare to speak differently. But this reverses the law. Words are not reactions, they are commands. They go before you like heralds, announcing to life what you are prepared to receive. And life, obedient to law, arranges itself accordingly. This is why the same patterns repeat until the language changes. A person may move cities, change jobs, alter relationships, yet meet the same obstacles again and again. It is not fate pursuing them. It is vocabulary. The inner dialogue has not been revised, so the outer script cannot change. Here is the quiet truth. You are always praying. With every sentence, every assumption, every casual remark about money, opportunity, or self-worth, you are issuing a decree. The universe does not analyze your tone or judge your intention. It responds to your conviction. What you consistently affirm becomes the law of your life. This is where faith enters, not as blind hope, but as spiritual understanding. Faith is the recognition that there is an intelligence greater than appearances, and that this intelligence responds to alignment, not effort. Faith is not begging, it is knowing. When you speak with faith, you are not trying to persuade life, you are agreeing with its highest order. Supply operates on the same principle. There is no shortage in the source of life. Shortage exists only in the channels formed by belief and speech. When a person continually names lack, They narrow the channel through which good can flow. When they speak supply, they widen it. Life does not withhold, it circulates, and circulation follows consciousness. Prosperity, then, is not something you chase, it is something you permit. It is the natural outcome of words aligned with truth. Prosperity is wholeness expressed, right ideas, right timing, right compensation, right support. It is not excess gained at another's expense. It is balance restored. You may wonder why words spoken quietly, even silently, hold such authority. It is because words impress the subconscious, and the subconscious governs behavior, perception, and expectation. What you repeatedly say becomes what you automatically assume, and what you assume determines what you notice, what you accept, and what you allow to pass you by unseen. Consider two people standing before the same opportunity. One says inwardly, "There is never enough for me." The other says, "I live in supply." The opportunity does not change, but their reception of it does. One hesitates, doubts, delays. The other recognizes, responds, and receives. Life did not choose between them, their words did. This law has never failed anyone. It has only obeyed them. When fear speaks, it is not because fear is powerful, it is because it has been given a language. Silence fear, and it weakens. Replace it with faith, and it dissolves. Fear feeds on repetition. So does prosperity. The question is not whether repetition works, but which direction you are repeating in. There was a woman who came burdened with debt and discouragement, speaking constantly of loss inherited and chances missed. She was not ungrateful, she was faithful to the wrong story. She began, reluctantly at first, to revise her speech. Each time she felt the old phrases rise, she replaced them with a simple decree. I am faith. I am supply. I am prosperity. Within weeks, unexpected assistance appeared. Within months, her financial structure shifted. Within a year, the old narrative no longer fit her life. The law had not changed. Her words had. This is why effort alone cannot save you. Action without alignment multiplies exhaustion, but action born of right words carries grace. When you speak from faith, you move with timing. When you speak supply, you recognize resources already near. When you speak prosperity, you act with dignity instead of desperation. Understand this deeply. Your words do not need to be loud to be law. They need only be consistent. The subconscious does not argue, it accepts, and once it accepts a new command, it works tirelessly to fulfill it. So do not be discouraged if your outer world does not immediately reflect your new language. You are changing the root, not the leaves. You are rewriting the blueprint, not repainting the walls. Persistence is not strain. It is loyalty to truth. Let these words become your inner climate. Let them replace the old weather of worry and complaint. Speak them when evidence contradicts you, not because you deny reality, but because you are choosing which reality to serve. Say it now, slowly, with the authority of one who understands the law. I am faith, and I trust the unseen order working for me. I am supply, and I live in an ever-open flow of good. I am prosperity, and my life expresses harmony, ease, and increase. This is why the law works. It always has. And now, consciously, it works for you. Faith, the calm certainty that moves mountains. Faith is not born in excitement, nor does it thrive in urgency. It arrives quietly, like dawn, not announcing itself with noise, but with inevitability. Many have mistaken faith for hope strained through fear, or for optimism clenched tightly against disappointment. Yet faith, in its true form, is neither fragile nor anxious. It is calm. It is settled. It is the deep interior, knowing that the unseen is already arranged. When I first began to speak the word faith, I did not feel strong. I felt uncertain, even foolish. Circumstances still argued loudly for limitation, and reason demanded proof. But faith does not answer to reason. It answers reason. It stands above evidence and speaks as though the matter were already concluded. And in that speaking, it concludes it. Faith is agreement with divine order. It is the decision to trust the law rather than the appearance. When you say faith, you are not asking life to change. You are declaring that life is already aligned. This declaration shifts you out of resistance and into reception. 4 resistance blocks, but faith opens. There is a sacred stillness that accompanies true faith. The frantic searching stops. The constant mental negotiation quiets. You are no longer scanning the horizon for rescue. You are resting in expectancy. This is why faith is powerful. It removes urgency, and urgency is the language of lack. A man once came burdened with failure, his voice heavy with regret. He spoke of years lost, of decisions that could not be undone. Each sentence reinforced the same verdict. It is too late. When introduced to the law of faith, he resisted gently. I cannot pretend, he said, but faith is not pretense. It is precedence. It places the invisible before the visible. He began slowly, almost shyly, to say, I am faith. My path is divinely timed. At first, nothing seemed to change, but something essential had shifted, his tone. The bitterness softened, the self-condemnation loosened, and in that softened space, ideas came. New doors opened that would have been invisible to a mind still arguing with the past. Faith does not erase history, it redeems it. It gathers all that seemed wasted and weaves it into a new pattern. When you live in faith, nothing is lost, everything is repurposed. To speak faith is to speak rest into the nervous system. It tells the subconscious that danger has passed, that provision is certain, that life is trustworthy, and the body responds. The breath deepens, the mind clears, decisions improve. Faith aligns you with right action without force. Do not measure faith by emotion. Some days it feels luminous, other days it feels like a quiet choice made in the dark. Both are valid. Faith is not a feeling, it is a stance. It is the decision to stand with truth regardless of appearance. There will be moments when old phrases try to reclaim you. What if it doesn't work? What if I fail again? These are echoes, not prophecies. Answer them with faith, not angrily, not defensively, calmly. Repetition is the language the subconscious understands. Speak faith until it becomes your default response. Say it in the morning before the mind begins its inventory of problems. Say it at noon when doubt whispers. Say it at night when fear rehearses tomorrow. Let faith become the atmosphere of your inner world. Here is the deeper mystery. Faith is not something you generate, it is something you allow. It arises naturally when resistance falls away. When you stop arguing for your limitations, faith rushes in to fill the space. Like water, it seeks the lowest place, the place of surrender. And faith is never alone. Where faith is spoken, supply is already moving. Where faith is anchored, prosperity is inevitable. Faith is the root, the others are the fruit. Let faith now be more than a word to you. Let it be an identity. Say it not as a hope, but as a name. I am faith. and I trust the intelligence guiding my life. I am faith, and I rest in the certainty of divine timing. I am faith, and everything I need appears at the perfect moment. And let this longer declaration settle deeply within you. I am faith made visible. I move without fear because I am supported by an unseen order that never fails. I release the need to control outcomes, knowing that right results are assured. I speak faith, I walk faith, I live faith, and my life responds with ease, protection, and peace. Faith has now been planted. Tend it with your words, guard it with your attention, and watch how effortlessly the ground of your life begins to shift beneath your feet. Supply, the river that never runs. Dry supply is the word that dissolves panic. It is the quiet answer to the loud lie of scarcity. Long before coins were minted or numbers assigned to worth, supply existed as divine circulation, the eternal movement of giving and receiving that sustains all life. Nothing in nature hoards, nothing fears tomorrow. The river does not question whether it will continue to flow. It flows because that is its nature, and so it is with you. At first, speaking supply may feel almost confrontational. The mind, trained in measurement and memory, may protest. It will remind you of bills, of delays, of moments when help did not come. But supply does not consult the past. It is a present tense law. It operates now, not as compensation for what was missing, but as expression of what always is. I remember the resistance clearly. I would say I live in supply, and immediately a mental ledger would rise before me, itemizing everything that suggested the opposite. Yet I persisted, not with force, but with faithfulness. I learned that supply does not respond to intensity, it responds to consistency. Each time I chose the word supply, I weakened the old agreement with lack. Supply is not money alone. Money is one of its costumes, not its source. Supply appears as ideas that arrive just in time, as connections that open unexpected paths, as strength on days you thought you had none left. It appears as the right book, the right conversation, the right pause. When you speak supply, you widen your perception, and what was once invisible becomes obvious. A woman once told me she had prayed for years for more money, yet felt perpetually anxious. When asked how she spoke about her life, she admitted she often said, "I never have enough time, enough help, enough energy." She was praying with her requests and canceling them with her words. When she began replacing those phrases with supply, something subtle but powerful shifted. Time seemed to stretch. Help arrived unasked. Opportunities multiplied. Supply had been present all along. Her language had blocked its recognition. Supply teaches you to expect good without strain. It removes the desperation that repels assistance. People sense it unconsciously. A person who speaks supply carries a different energy, calm, open, trustworthy. They are no longer grasping, and so life can place things gently into their hands. There is a sacred confidence that grows when supply becomes your inner speech. You stop over-explaining. You stop apologizing for needs. You stop shrinking your desires to fit your fears. Supply does not mean excess without wisdom. It means sufficiency without anxiety. It is the assurance that what is required will appear when required. In moments of fear, supply is the word that steadies the heart. When the future feels uncertain, supply anchors you in now. It reminds you that life is not lived all at once. It is lived moment by moment, and each moment carries its own provision. Do not argue with appearances when you speak supply. Simply replace the sentence. Where the mind says, "There is not enough," answer gently, "I live in supply." Where the voice of habit says, "What if I run out?" respond calmly. Supply is constant and unfailing. Repetition will do what reasoning cannot. And know this, supply follows faith as shadow follows form. When faith declares alignment, supply moves to fulfill it. When supply is acknowledged, prosperity begins to take shape. Let supply become more than reassurance. Let it become your expectation, your posture, your breath. I am supply, and my needs are met with ease. I am supply, and resources come to me from expected and unexpected channels. I am supply, and there is always more than enough for every right desire. And let this longer affirmation seal itself within you. I am supply in expression. I live in a universe of endless circulation where giving and receiving are one movement. I release fear of lack and rest in the certainty that provision is natural, constant, and immediate. I speak supply. I trust supply. I recognize supply. And my life reflects abundance in perfect order. Supply is now active in your awareness. Speak it often, trust it deeply, and watch how effortlessly the flow begins to answer you. Prosperity, the fullness that embodies life. Prosperity is not a distant shore or a promise deferred. It is the fullness of life expressed in the present. It is not measured merely by gold or gain, but by harmony, health, creative expression, and joy flowing through every vein of being. When you speak prosperity, you are not asking for more. You are recognizing what already exists and inviting it into conscious form. At first, speaking prosperity may feel bold, even audacious. The mind, trained in limitation, whispers, "You are not worthy. You cannot have this. It will be taken away." Yet these are old agreements, not law. Prosperity asks you to stand apart from fear and declare wholeness as your inheritance. It is a word of affirmation, a word of identity, a word that cannot coexist with complaint. I remember my own trembling as I first spoke prosperity aloud. My circumstances were modest, my resources few, and my heart weighed with expectation deferred. Yet I repeated it anyway, and each repetition dissolved fear bit by bit. Prosperity does not rush. It does not negotiate. It simply follows the law of words. Speak it consistently, and life adjusts. Speak it with devotion, and it arrives clothed in timing and opportunity. Speak it with faith, and resistance bends. Prosperity is the culmination of faith and supply. Faith opens the channel. Supply fills it. Prosperity allows it to flourish. It is the embodiment of well-being. When you claim prosperity, you claim not only wealth, but confidence, respect, peace of mind, and creative power. It encompasses every area of existence, forming the visible expression of invisible order. Consider the woman who had struggled with both finances and self-esteem. She had diligently saved, planned, and prayed, yet life seemed to move like sand through her fingers. When she adopted the practice of speaking prosperity, she did not merely wish for money. She spoke as though her life was already complete. "I am prosperity," she declared. "I move in prosperity. I express prosperity. I receive prosperity." Within months, her work environment shifted. Opportunities for advancement appeared. Relationships improved. Her creative projects began to bear fruit. The word did not create miracles in isolation. It realigned her consciousness to the abundance that had been present all along. Prosperity requires devotion because it is sacred. It is not greed. It is not acquisition for ego. It is life itself recognized and affirmed. The universe does not begrudge those who speak prosperity. It celebrates them. Every time you declare it, you are stepping into rhythm with the source, joining the eternal flow of creation. There will be moments when the old self challenges you, when lack seems louder than your affirmations. These are tests, not threats. The mind will attempt to replay scarcity as if it were prophecy. Answer with repetition. Answer with calm certainty. Prosperity is not won. It is remembered. It is the truth hidden beneath worry, doubt, and habit. Speak it now, not softly, but as a decree, a covenant with yourself. I am prosperity, and my life overflows in every direction. I am prosperity, and abundance is my natural state. I am prosperity, and my gifts return to me multiplied, effortlessly and graciously. And let this longer affirmation carry the full weight of your new identity. I am prosperity in every moment. I am complete. I am sufficient. I am luminous. I release the old stories of limitation and receive the reality of wholeness. I speak prosperity. I embody prosperity. I radiate prosperity. My life expresses balance, joy, and abundance in every endeavor. The universe conspires in my favor, and I move within its flow with grace and certainty. Prosperity has now become your voice, your posture, your expectation. Let it guide your decisions, color your thoughts, and infuse your dreams. The law is at work, and your words are its instruments. Speak, receive, become. From complaint to command, rewriting the voice of your life. Before transformation can fully take root, we must confront the habits of speech that have long enslaved us. These are not trivial. They are the spells we cast daily without realizing. Every complaint, every self-limiting remark, every casual judgment of lack carries power. Words are not merely reflections of thought. They are the architects of experience. To break old patterns is to take your wand of speech into your own hand and begin issuing new decrees. I remember the subtlety of these habits in my own life. I would sigh over bills, mutter frustration over traffic, whisper worry about tomorrow. None of it seemed dramatic, yet every utterance planted a seed. Life did not correct me, nor punish me. It simply obeyed. Poverty, delay, and frustration were the inevitable harvest of repeated words. I had trained myself to expect scarcity, and the world had dutifully conformed. The first step in breaking old patterns is awareness. Listen closely to your own speech, not only what you say aloud, but what you say in your mind. Notice the habitual phrases, I can't, I don't have, it's too late, nothing works, I am unlucky. These are not truths. They are old agreements, like worn-out contracts you never read. Recognize them, not with guilt, but with curiosity. Only when we see the law in action can we redirect it. Next comes replacement. Old habits do not vanish by themselves. They must be overlaid with new language, repeated consistently until the subconscious accepts the substitution. This is why our three master words, faith, supply, prosperity, are essential. They are not slogans, they are new laws to replace the old. Here is a simple practice I recommend. Whenever an old complaint arises, pause and say aloud, I am faith. I live in supply. I am prosperity. Repeat it until the familiar worry dissolves into silence. The more faithfully you do this, the faster your inner atmosphere shifts. The subconscious cannot hold two opposing scripts at once. It will choose the one you feed. Fear is the most insidious of old patterns. Fear speaks in quiet whispers. You may fail, you might lose, you will be disappointed. Fear is obeyed when you give it language, when you deliberately replace those whispers with faith, supply, and prosperity. Fear loses its hold. It is not argued with, it is eclipsed. Complaints in this context are spells, powerful, precise, unavoidable in their effect. Speak scarcity, and scarcity multiplies. Speak lack, and lack grows. Speak limitation, and the world tightens around you. But speak faith, and the universe aligns. Speak supply, and doors open where walls once stood. Speak prosperity, and your life rearranges into harmony. Breaking patterns also requires patience. Old speech habits have taken years to form. They do not vanish in a day. Do not condemn yourself when the old phrases slip. Simply notice, pause, and replace. Each repetition strengthens the new law. Each word spoken in alignment is a brick in the foundation of your new life. Another key is consistency. The law does not respond to occasional eloquence. It responds to habitual truth. Morning, noon, and night, let your words declare the new order. Let faith, supply, and prosperity become the music of your inner life. Sooner than you expect, old phrases will lose their sound. They will fade, abandoned by their lack of attention. Remember this: breaking old patterns is not an act of deprivation. It is an act of liberation. You are not denying reality. You are redirecting it. You are teaching life to respond differently to you. You are not silencing voice. You are empowering it. The same mouth that once reinforced limitation now creates possibility. The same tongue that whispered scarcity now commands abundance. The same breath that sighed fear now declares triumph. Now say it with me, slowly, deliberately, allowing each word to settle like a seed in fertile soil. I release all old patterns of complaint and limitation. I am faith, and fear no longer guides my speech. I am supply, and scarcity has no place in my life. I am prosperity, and my words create wholeness, ease, and abundance. And let this extended affirmation embed itself deep within your consciousness. I release the worn-out phrases that have bound me. I no longer speak weakness or lack. I claim my voice as an instrument of divine order. Each word I speak from this moment forward is law. I speak faith, and trust replaces doubt. I speak supply, and provision flows without resistance. I speak prosperity, and my life manifests fullness, joy, and harmony. I am the master of my inner world, and by mastering my speech, I master the life that listens to it. This is the sacred work, to dismantle old spells and replace them with deliberate decrees. Each moment, each word is an opportunity. Speak wisely, speak boldly, speak faithfully, and watch as life bends in response to your new authority, the rhythm that aligns your life. Transformation does not come solely from understanding. It comes from practice. Words are not merely recited, they are lived. To anchor faith, supply, and prosperity in every fiber of your being, you must establish a daily rhythm, a sacred sequence that guides your thoughts, your speech, and your attention throughout the day. This is not ritual for ritual's sake. It is alignment in motion. It is the bridge between knowing and becoming. Begin each morning with stillness. Before the clamor of the world reaches your ears, sit in quiet and breathe deeply. Close your eyes and allow the body to settle. This is your first act of obedience to the law, to pause, to attend, to honor the invisible currents that shape life. Then, in that sacred silence, speak your decree aloud, slowly, deliberately. I am faith. I live in supply. I am prosperity. Repeat this 3 times, letting each word resonate through body and mind, allowing it to seed the subconscious. Feel the vibration of each word as it moves from tongue to heart, from heart to marrow. Morning practice does not end with repetition. Write these words in a notebook, letting pen trace the affirmation onto paper. There is a subtle magic in recording what you intend to embody. This is a dialogue with yourself and the universe, the spoken and the written converging to cement belief. Write with intention, with care, as though you are etching new laws into the blueprint of your life. As the day unfolds, micro practices sustain alignment. Pause whenever you feel tension, doubt, or impatience creeping in. Speak a brief affirmation. Faith guides me. Supply surrounds me. Prosperity flows through me. These are not interruptions. They are corrections. They recalibrate your inner atmosphere, ensuring that old habits do not regain control. Speak them in your mind, in your breath, or aloud if the moment allows. Each repetition fortifies the subconscious, which governs action, perception, and expectation. Engage with the world as though your words are commands, not wishes. When an opportunity arises, notice it first, then affirm, supply. There is enough for this and more. When confronted with challenge, summon faith. I am supported, guided, and divinely timed. When joy appears, acknowledge it as prosperity. Abundance is my natural state. I receive and give with grace. Each moment becomes a classroom, and each word spoken is instruction. You are teaching your life to respond differently, gently, but with unwavering consistency. Evening practice is the final anchor. Before rest, reflect on the day with gratitude. Recall moments when faith, supply, and prosperity were expressed and received. Speak aloud, I am faith. I live in supply. I am prosperity. Then release worry. Do not argue with unmet desires. Do not replay old failures. Instead, imagine your subconscious recording the words like seeds in fertile soil. As you sleep, they grow unseen, silently reshaping expectation, perception, and experience. Nighttime is the laboratory where transformation is conducted in subtle, powerful ways. For added effect, combine speech, writing, and visualization. See yourself moving through your day in perfect alignment. Hear the words echo in imagined scenarios, giving guidance at work, receiving support, enjoying creative expression, experiencing health, joy, and ease. The more senses you engage, the more firmly the new identity takes root. Consistency is the secret. Do not rely on emotion. Do not wait until you feel convinced. Feelings are fleeting. The law obeys the words you repeat. Let faith, supply, and prosperity saturate your mornings, days, and nights. Let them become the rhythm of your being. The subconscious will accept them, and life will follow. No situation, no scarcity, no voice of doubt can stand against habitual law. Finally, record your observations. Journaling is not merely observation, it is dialogue. Note the shifts, the synchronicities, the subtle signs that life is responding. Celebrate them, however small. This practice reinforces belief and strengthens the rhythm of alignment. Your notebook becomes a map of transformation, a testament that the law responds when words are honored. Now take this longer affirmation and weave it into your day-to-day life. I am faith, and I move in divine timing with unwavering certainty. I am supply, and my needs are met effortlessly, now and always. I am prosperity, and my life expresses fullness, joy, and abundance. From the moment I wake until the moment I rest, my words guide reality. I repeat them aloud, I write them, I imagine them, and they become law within my mind, body, and soul. I trust the unseen, I honor the flow, I accept the gifts, and I live in the constant presence of abundance. Let this daily rhythm become your covenant. Morning, day, and night. Speak, write, visualize. In repetition, consistency, and attention lies the transformation. The law is alive, listening, and faithful, and you are now its conscious partner, directing the flow of life with the authority of your own words. Lives transformed by faith, supply, and prosperity. Transformation is not abstract, it is tangible. It shows itself in lives that were once burdened, restrained, and uncertain, and which, through consistent practice of the law of words, began to shift with quiet yet undeniable power. Here are the stories of 3 souls who, like you, once doubted, but learned to speak the language of their own liberation. The first story is of Marcus, a man trapped in repetitive cycles of financial strain. Marcus worked diligently, yet no matter how many hours he invested, the returns never seemed to satisfy his needs. He spoke of lack so often that it had become a rhythm of life. When introduced to faith, supply, and prosperity, he initially resisted, saying, "I cannot simply wish things into being." Yet he began, cautiously, to whisper the words each morning and night, "I am faith. I live in supply. I am prosperity." Weeks passed before he noticed the smallest shifts, the unexpected cancellation of an overdue bill, a client who paid early, a friend who offered guidance just when it was needed. Each small occurrence reinforced the law. Within months, Marcus was no longer chasing life. Life was responding to him. His business grew steadily, his confidence expanded, and he no longer feared the arrival of tomorrow. He had learned that words are the bridges over scarcity, and that speaking new words builds new realities. The second story belongs to Elena, a woman whose career stagnated under fear of inadequacy. She frequently muttered, "I am not enough. I will fail again." These words had shaped her perception, limiting her opportunities. When she adopted the daily rhythm of faith, supply, and prosperity, she committed to speaking them aloud and journaling them each day. At first, the practice felt unnatural, yet slowly, Elena began to notice her posture changing, her energy expanding, and doors opening in places where she had once encountered closed gates. When an unexpected promotion arose, she recognized it as a direct manifestation of her new language. Elena realized that her previous statements had not been mere complaints. They were the chains she now deliberately released. By speaking aligned words, she had not only shifted circumstance, but embodied an identity that naturally attracted opportunity. The third story is of Samuel, a man who wrestled with both health and personal relationships. Samuel had long lived in the shadow of worry, speaking phrases of limitation. "I am tired. I am unlucky in love. I cannot heal." When he embraced the practice of faith, supply, and prosperity, the transformation unfolded not magically, but subtly. He began his mornings with affirmations, paused during the day to repeat them, and allowed them to settle in his subconscious at night. Gradually, he noticed increased vitality, a sense of emotional balance, and harmonious connections with others. Friends remarked on his newfound composure, and opportunities he had thought impossible began to appear naturally. Samuel's experience demonstrates that the law does not merely correct finances, it touches every domain: health, relationships, creativity, and spirit. What these stories share is not luck, coincidence, or external intervention. They share deliberate engagement with the law of words. Faith was the anchor, allowing the unseen to guide. Supply was the acknowledgement that resources are ever present, dissolving fear and tension. Prosperity was the expression, the embodiment of wholeness that made the abstract tangible. Through consistent practice, each person aligned thought, word, and action, and life responded with precision. Notice the common thread: repetition, attention, and trust. These are not casual behaviors. They are commitments to law. Life does not respond to occasional eloquence. It responds to habitual, aligned expression. When you see a friend, colleague, or stranger manifest transformation, it is often the silent, disciplined repetition of aligned words that drives the change. Appearance follows agreement. Reflect on your own life. Which old stories are you repeating? Which words are you allowing to dominate your inner climate? The path is clear. Replace them. Speak faith when fear arises. Speak supply when lack tempts the mind. Speak prosperity when limitation tries to assert itself. The law will respond. You do not need to rush. You do not need to force. You simply need to align consistently, patiently, and reverently. Let us now speak together, allowing these stories to become both witness and affirmation. I am faith, and my life is guided by intelligence unseen. I am supply, and every need is met with divine timing. I am prosperity, and abundance manifests naturally in every domain of my life. And let this longer affirmation echo the lessons learned from all who came before. I am living testimony that the law of words obeys me. My voice is an instrument of creation. I release old patterns. I speak with intention. I embrace the invisible intelligence flowing through all things. Faith strengthens me, supply sustains me, and prosperity expresses through me. I am aligned. I am open. I am ready to receive, and I am already receiving. Each moment, each word, each breath is a demonstration of the law made visible. The proof of transformation is in observation, reflection, and acknowledgement. As you move through your own journey, allow the examples of Marcus, Elena, Samuel, and countless others to inspire consistency. The law has never failed, and it will not fail you. Speak, align, receive, and become. The river of life bends to your language, the convergence of mind, matter, and mystery. For centuries, the teaching of words shaping reality was called metaphysical, mystical, or even magical. Yet modern science now confirms what sages have always known. Consciousness and language wield creative force. Neuroplasticity, the study of the brain's ability to rewire itself, proves that repetition of thought and word physically reshapes neural pathways. Every affirmation, every declaration, every focused statement of faith, supply, and prosperity builds new circuits in the mind, forming a substrate for new experience. In other words, your words do not merely echo in the air, they leave tangible traces in your brain, preparing it to recognize and receive opportunity. Subconscious programming explains the mechanism further. Your subconscious mind is the silent custodian of all habit, perception, and expectation. It obeys your words, whether whispered, spoken aloud, or silently thought with absolute fidelity. Old phrases of fear or scarcity created automatic patterns of behavior, emotional responses, and perception. These patterns are deeply ingrained, yet they are not permanent. By deliberately repeating new words aligned with truth, faith, supply, prosperity, you overwrite limiting patterns, opening pathways to new action and recognition. The frequency of thought and speech also carries significance. Every word emits vibration, influencing both your inner field and, as studies on mirror neurons suggest, the perceptions of others around you. Positive, aligned words create resonance. Negative, fearful words create resistance. Science now understands what mystics have always taught. Vibration attracts like vibration. Speaking supply, for instance, is not merely a mental exercise. It changes the very frequency of expectation, drawing into alignment circumstances that match abundance. Moreover, the act of visualization paired with affirmations enhances this effect. Neuroscience shows that vividly imagining outcomes while repeating aligned words activates the same neural regions as actually experiencing them. The body, guided by the subconscious, prepares for action as if the desired reality were already present. In essence, you train both mind and body to act in harmony with the new law you are declaring. Even stress physiology responds. Cortisol, the hormone of chronic anxiety, diminishes when the nervous system is engaged in rhythmic, focused practice. Repetition of faith reduces fight or flight responses. Supply cultivates calm readiness, and prosperity fosters a sense of safety and wholeness. You are literally altering your biological state with aligned speech, enabling you to perceive, receive, and act in ways previously inaccessible. This convergence of science and spirit confirms what Florence Scovel Shinn taught intuitively. The spoken word is law, the invisible obeys. The subconscious mind is the operative agent. Habits of thought and speech shape both perception and opportunity. The brain is not fixed. It is a pliable instrument, and you are the conductor, orchestrating the symphony of your life with every word. Consider this. When faith is repeated, the body releases tension and aligns with timing rather than urgency. When supply is repeated, perception shifts from scarcity to abundance, allowing insight into hidden resources. When prosperity is repeated, the mind notices opportunity, energy rises, and life responds in visible ways. These are not coincidences. They are the mechanics of law made evident. The unseen and the seen are now dancing together in response to your commands. Let this understanding embolden you. You are not merely reciting slogans. You are performing experiments in consciousness. You are training neural pathways, commanding physiology, and attuning to frequency. The law of words is validated not only in metaphysical texts, but also in brain scans, psychology studies, and observations of behavior. Faith, supply, and prosperity are no longer abstract. They are scientifically, spiritually, and personally demonstrable. Speak it now with awareness of its power, with certainty of its validity, with respect for the law. I am faith, and my mind and body align with intelligence unseen. I am supply, and perception and reality shift to meet me. I am prosperity, and my frequency attracts abundance in all its forms. And allow this extended affirmation to integrate science and spirit, mind, and soul, inner reality and outer manifestation. I am faith, supply, and prosperity. My words are law, my mind is plastic, my body is receptive. I repeat these words with attention, visualization, and devotion. I train my nervous system, focus my thoughts, and awaken my perception to opportunity. The unseen responds to the word, the brain records the command, and life manifests accordingly. I am aligned, I am deliberate, I am faithful, and my experience reflects the harmony of law, the abundance of supply, and the fullness of prosperity. Science finally catches up to what the ancients knew. Your word is not merely sound, it is structure, vibration, and law. Use it consciously. Use it consistently. Speak, embody, receive, and watch life respond. Prosperity is not only money, it is wholeness. The world has been taught to equate abundance with currency, to reduce the vast, overflowing river of life into a narrow stream of coins and bills. Yet prosperity is not a single compartment. It is not a closed door that only opens for one kind of person. It is the fullness of life in every dimension: health, relationships, creativity, peace, and purpose. The three master words are not meant to create a single outcome. They are meant to create a whole life. Faith is not only for finances, it is the foundation of emotional resilience, the bedrock of physical healing, and the secret behind all miracles. When you speak faith, you are not merely trusting money to appear, you are trusting life itself. You are trusting that the universe is intelligent, that it is responsive, and that it is benevolent. You are trusting that every situation is working for your good, even when it does not appear so. Faith is the anchor that steadies your heart when storms arise. Supply is not only for bills, it is the unseen reservoir that replenishes your energy, your creativity, your courage. It is the source of support when relationships feel strained, the unseen hand that brings the right words at the right moment. Supply is the stream that refreshes your spirit, not only your pocket. When you speak supply, you recognize that life is a continuous flow, not a series of empty moments. You stop treating your resources like rare treasures and start living as though the river never ends. Prosperity is not only for success, it is the state of being fully alive. It is health restored, joy recovered, and purpose revealed. It is the confidence to be yourself without apology. It is the ability to love without fear of loss. It is the peace that comes when you know you are aligned with the source of all good. Prosperity is not a reward for hard work. It is the natural expression of right speech and right alignment. Consider health. When a person speaks fear, I am always tired, I am always sick, my body is failing, they are not merely complaining, they are programming their subconscious to match those words. But when they replace that language with faith, supply, and prosperity, the subconscious begins to support healing. It is not magic alone, it is law. The body responds to belief, and belief responds to words. When you say, I am faith, I live in supply, I am prosperity, you are telling your body that it is safe to heal, that it is supported, that it is meant to thrive. Consider relationships. When someone speaks lack, I am unlovable, I will always be alone, people always leave me, they are calling to a life that matches those words. But when they speak faith, supply, and prosperity, they open to connection. Faith allows them to trust others without anxiety. Supply removes the neediness that repels love. Prosperity allows them to give and receive with dignity. Their relationships begin to shift, not because they force them, but because they have become a different person from the inside out. Consider creativity. Many people hold back their gifts because they fear rejection or failure. Yet the universe does not withhold your gifts. It waits for your permission. When you speak prosperity, you are not asking to be noticed. You are declaring that your gifts are valuable and that they belong to the world. When you speak supply, you are acknowledging that inspiration is available, that ideas flow without scarcity. When you speak faith, you trust that your work is guided and supported. Your creativity then becomes a river, not a trickle. And consider peace. Peace is the highest form of abundance because it is the absence of inner conflict. It is the quiet knowing that everything is working together for your good. Peace arises when you speak faith. Peace arises when you trust supply. Peace arises when you accept prosperity as your birthright. This is the deeper meaning of abundance. It is wholeness. It is not having more than others. It is being more of who you truly are. It is the recognition that the universe is generous and that you are included in its generosity. It is the surrender of struggle and the acceptance of flow. Now speak these words as a full declaration of your new life. I am faith, and I am safe in the unseen order. I am supply, and I am replenished in every moment. I am prosperity, and my life overflows in health, love, creativity, and peace. And let this longer affirmation seal the truth of abundance in every area. I am faith, supply, and prosperity. My life is not limited to one form of success. It is full in every direction. I am healthy, strong, and vibrant. I am loved, supported, and connected. I am creative, inspired, and fulfilled. I am peaceful, purposeful, and free. I speak words of truth, and life responds with harmony. I receive abundance in every area because I am aligned with the source of all good. My life is an expression of wholeness, and I am grateful now and always. Abundance is not a destination. It is your true identity. And now, as you continue to speak these words, you will begin to live it naturally, effortlessly, beautifully, becoming the person whose life reflects the word. Now that faith, supply, and prosperity have been planted in the soil of your mind, it is time to embody them fully. Knowledge alone does not transform. Living the law does. Your new identity is not an external costume to put on. It is the seamless integration of thought, speech, action, and expectation. You are no longer rehearsing a role. You are becoming the person life responds to naturally. Living this new identity begins in your inner climate. Your thoughts are calmer, your words more deliberate, your attention more focused. You notice that old triggers no longer pull you into panic or complaint. When fear arises, you answer with faith. When lack tempts your perception, you answer with supply. When limitation whispers, you answer with prosperity. This is not discipline, it is alignment. You are no longer swimming against the current, you are moving with it, and life bends effortlessly in response. Your outer life begins to mirror this shift. Opportunities that once seemed invisible now appear in plain sight. Support that once felt sporadic now flows consistently. Challenges that once seemed insurmountable are navigated with ease. This is because your words have reprogrammed the subconscious, which directs attention, behavior, and expectation. You have become a magnet not by striving, but by becoming the frequency of abundance itself. Notice how interactions change. People respond to the calm authority in your voice. Colleagues respect your confidence, friends are drawn to your steadiness, and strangers sense a harmony you carry naturally. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations of law. Life, which always obeys, now reflects the identity you have spoken into being. Even your inner dialogue transforms. Where before it was critical or fearful, it is now supportive and encouraging. Each time you affirm faith, supply, and prosperity, you reinforce a new narrative, one that shapes your perception and guides your choices. The mind, once dominated by old agreements, now serves as an instrument of creation. Your actions also begin to align effortlessly. You no longer procrastinate out of fear or scarcity. Decisions come with clarity and confidence. You are no longer grasping or forcing. You are responding to life with the certainty that your words have already established. This is the subtle but undeniable proof that identity precedes manifestation. Living this identity also transforms your view of setbacks. Obstacles no longer provoke panic. Instead, they are recognized as part of the unseen order, opportunities for redirection or growth. When challenges appear, you speak, "I am faith, I live in supply, I am prosperity," and life rearranges itself. Your external world bends to match the truth you have declared internally. There is joy in this living, a quiet, grounded joy that comes from knowing you are aligned with law. It is not the superficial happiness of circumstance. It is the deep contentment of identity, of being in step with the flow of life. The sense of struggle diminishes. The sense of lack dissolves. Peace becomes the default, and abundance is the natural accompaniment. To fully integrate this identity, continue the practices you have established. Speak your words each morning, pause throughout the day to realign, and reflect each evening. Journal your observations, celebrate confirmations, notice the subtle shifts. These acts are not effort, they are recognition. They honor the law that already works for you. Now, declare the living truth of your being fully and without hesitation. I am faith, and I trust the intelligence guiding my life. I am supply, and my needs are met with perfect timing. I am prosperity, and my life expresses harmony, wholeness, and abundance. And here is the extended affirmation to solidify your new identity. I am faith, supply, and prosperity. I live as the person whose life responds naturally to the law of words. My thoughts, my speech, my actions, and my perceptions are aligned with the unseen order. I move through life with ease, clarity, and certainty. Opportunities, support, and abundance flow effortlessly to me. I am calm, confident, and radiant. I am no longer bound by old patterns. I am fully alive, fully aligned, fully abundant. This is my truth. This is my law. This is who I am. By living in this identity, you have entered the realm of effortless creation, where words are law and life responds in perfect harmony. Faith, supply, and prosperity are no longer distant goals. They are your daily reality, your constant companions, and the essence of who you are. The great unveiling, your word, your world, your victory. Beloved, listen carefully, for this is the final turning of the key. This is the moment when the old story is laid down, when the chains of past agreement are removed, and when the truth of your inheritance is spoken aloud with unwavering certainty. You were never powerless. You were never abandoned. You were never meant to struggle alone. You have only been misinformed about the power of your own word. From the beginning, Life has been waiting for you to remember what you already are. You are not a small creature trying to scrape together a life from the edge of existence. You are a divine expression, a living channel of infinite intelligence. The universe does not oppose you. It responds to you. It has always been ready to supply, to prosper, to uplift you. It has only been waiting for your words to align with its law. Now you know, now you have heard the truth. Faith is your anchor. Supply is your river. Prosperity is your rightful expression. These are not mere concepts. They are the keys to the door of your transformation. You have spoken them, repeated them, written them, and lived them. You have invited them into your subconscious, and your subconscious has begun to obey. The law has been activated. The unseen has been set in motion. Your life is now a vessel of abundance, and abundance cannot be denied. You may still see evidence of old patterns. That is natural. The world does not change overnight, but the direction of your life has already changed. The law moves with perfect timing. What you have spoken is already working behind the scenes. The universe is rearranging the details, shifting circumstances, aligning people, and opening doors that once seemed locked. Do not despair if you do not see immediate results. The harvest does not appear the moment the seed is planted. It grows silently in the unseen. It becomes visible only when the time is right. But there is one thing you must remember, and it is the final, most sacred instruction. Never return to the old language. Do not allow the mind to replay the old tapes of limitation. Do not give fear the microphone. You have been granted a new voice, a new identity, a new covenant with the unseen. Speak it, live it, guard it. Your word is your wand. Your word is your law. Your word is your invitation to life. When you speak faith, supply, and prosperity, you are not asking. You are declaring. You are not pleading. You are commanding. You are not hoping. You are knowing. The universe hears you. It answers you. It moves for you. Now speak this final affirmation with all the authority of your new identity, with all the devotion of your awakened heart, and with all the certainty of your transformed soul. I am faith. I am supply. I am prosperity. I am faith, supply, and prosperity. I am the one who speaks the word and sees the world respond. I am the one who walks in divine timing, knowing that the unseen is already arranged. I am the one who lives in constant provision, knowing that supply is eternal and unfailing. I am the one whose life expresses abundance in every area: health, love, purpose, creativity, and peace. I am the one who has awakened to the truth of my power. I am the one who no longer fears lack, for I am aligned with the source of all good. I am the one who commands with calm authority, and the universe obeys, and so it is written in my life. And so it is done, and so it is now. You have always been the author of your destiny. You have simply forgotten the pen. Now you hold it again. Write with clarity, write with devotion, write with love. Speak your word and let your world be shaped by it. You are faith. You are supply. You are prosperity. And you are free.